So we can all agree that Ashton Jeanty's awesome. But when we start comparing Ashton Jeanty to some of the extremely high-profile running backs that we've seen in the last few years, the Bijan Robinsons, the Jahmyr Gibbs, where does he stack up for you when you look at him versus players like that at this point in the process?
Ashton Jeanty, absolute amazing prospect. I would say as a receiver, Theo, like not on the level of the CMCs, the Alvin Kamaras, those guys. He's a notch below, but he's one of the best runners that we've seen. But he is a plus in the passing game. Like he's not going to be a guy that, oh my God, like he's a liability in the passing game. I think you put him on a team that really only has one good wide receiver or tight end, he could still be good enough to be like a 16, 17% target share guy. You put him on a team that's loaded, like the Eagles, for example, and what Saquon had to deal with. You've got a tight end and two wide receivers, probably more of a 10 to 12% kind of guy. So landing spot will matter a little bit for him in the passing game. Not going to be like a CMC or a Kamara where they're just going to demand a 15 to 20% target share no matter what team they're on.
When we talk about ability as a receiver, Jeanty, we saw it in 2023, and then this year they just chose not to use him in that sense because he's ripping off all these long explosive runs and running for 200 yards every single game. But he's a good enough receiver, and this was a sort of a off year where the RB1 overall didn't hit with a high number of receptions. Usually we want to see a guy who's getting 70 or so receptions. Certainly the Jonathan Taylor year where he was RB1 overall. This past year with Saquon Barkley. There's been a few where it's a little bit lower, but I think in the right landing spot, Ashton Jeanty can be a 60 reception a year guy quite easily just on dump offs and his utility as a route runner.